Alright, so what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of J&L Garage. I know there's a whole lot of wind noise. Hope you guys can hear me halfway okay. But anyways, so we're starting this video off. I'm on my way to town right now in the old Chevy, cruising. First little ride to town, actually. Still on dry rotted tires. Tires are on their way, which that install will probably be included in this video anyways. But we're getting a new windshield, boys. Gotta have it. So we're gonna get it installed. I'm not gonna film any of it. Just gonna give you guys a little update on the way there. Thing needs a front end alignment from Hale. Steering wheel, it turns. It's got a little bit of play in it, but and she's got her problems, boys. She's a 79. What do you expect, right? But yeah, so we're on the way to town now, and next clip will be cutting to us with the new windshield in it. Probably on the way home. All right, you guys. So we got her back in the yard. Brand new windshield, no more hole. It's raining like a bitch still, so not really any work I can do to it. If you can see, yeah, you can see it slightly. You can see the smoke kind of pouring out of the engine bay. So that's still the transmission. I still have some issue with my transmission, just puking a little bit of transmission fluid out of the dipstick. So what I'm thinking is the vent holes probably stopped up. As many dirt dauber nests as I found on this truck already, which you guys saw in like the starter video and stuff like that, I am dead sure that it's probably got some gunk built up in there. So we're probably gonna try and unstop that, and I'm not sure. I'd like to prevent that from now on if at all possible. I think a 3/8 fuel line fits on there. I mean, really and truthfully, that should never happen again as long as it's being drove and it's not sitting around near as much. But I don't know. I mean, definitely need to probably just go on ahead and, like, I was thinking probably run a little bit of 3/8 line to just like a fuel filter hanging off of it. And that would keep anything from getting back up in there and stopping that thing up. But probably the next clip you guys will see will be us putting the tires on. Alright, you guys. Pardon me. So, last video I was telling you guys I was getting ready to get the tires put on, and I was going to film that, but we were in quite a rush, and you know, filming, it just eats up time because you got to kind of explain things. But the tires are on. They have been on. I've actually drove it around with the new tires 2 or 3 times now. And let me tell you, the thing feels like a new truck. I mean, it's going from these dry rotted. I mean, you can see here, I don't know if you can see it on camera as well, like the bulge in the sidewall where these tires just sat flat for so long. They were never going to get smoothed out again. So, the new tires are awesome. Excuse this vanity here. We're doing some house remodeling. And also, during all the driving, I realized that one time as it was parked, let's see, where was I parked at? I think I was parked at a local gun store. I get to looking, and I have to walk up a hill to the parking lot from where the shop is, or the store, and like this whole front side of the truck it just looks wet and damp. So I get to looking under the hood, and I can see that there's transmission fluid there. So I thought that it was just leftover from where it was spitting it out of the dipstick when the breather tube the vent tube was stopped up. However, turns out I went to crank it up in the yard a couple days ago, and when I cranked it up, I look and there's something dripping off of the front shackle right here, just dripping right off of this. And whenever I got to looking, turns out one of the transmission cooler hard lines had a hole in it. So I've got a new ones here, OEM pre-bent, which is gonna pose to be a problem, I think. I have already started on this job, as you can tell from the tools and trash. However, the only thing I've done is I've taken the lower radiator hose off, and I'm fixing to pull the overflow tank, so that way I've got enough room to move the lines how I need to, hopefully, to get them started. However, so far that has proved to be a challenge. I haven't taken the old lines out yet, though, so that's another reason I'm taking the coolant overflow out, is because it looks like someone's already tried to take these loose before me, and they're rounded a little bit. So I want to take this off so that way I can get a good wrench in here, and then if the wrench doesn't work, I can always throw a set of vice grips on here because we're not using these lines again. I don't think both of them have a hole in them, but they come in a set. It's like $30, pre-bent, ready to go. So I was like, yeah, you know what? We're just going to go ahead. We're going to replace both of them if I can get them in here. So without further ado, I'm going to start by taking this overflow tank out, and I'm going to see if I can get these lines loose here, and hopefully in the next clip, that's where I'll be at. Alright, so got these two fronts loose. The top one, I actually sprayed both of these with PB Blaster 2 or 3 times last night to let them soak before today. And the top one broke loose fairly easy, even though it was rounded. And then the bottom one broke loose, but it tore the line apart, which, it doesn't matter. We have new lines, but it kind of sucks that did happen because I could always pull these out in one piece if it's possible. And then if I was to get them out in one piece, I could just wrap a piece of fuel line around it and hose clamp it real good where the hole's at. But whatever, it doesn't matter. So now I'm going to roll under the truck, get the lines undone from the transmission, get all the clamps undone that holds it to the frame and to the oil pan and stuff. And then we're going to see if we can fish these things out of here. Alright, so finally got the old lines out. So I was investigating it. The hole is up here where the lines were rubbing together. But if you can see that, they were also rusted together. So whenever everything, started getting run and it started shaking, it vibrated that rust loose, and I'm thinking it just chipped that line off. Because transmission lines, from my knowledge and my experience, aren't known to, just have holes burst in them out of nowhere. However, I'm fixing to start putting the new ones in, but I also got to looking at my radiator hose, and I forgot, which I was a little bit drunk, but it wouldn't come loose from the water pump. It was rusted to it real bad. You can't see it worth a shit. Anyways, yeah, you can see some of that rust in there now. But anyways, it was rusted to the water pump, so I ended up having to, even though I broke the old school clamp off of it, here it is right here, because it was rusted to the hose itself on the outside, I still couldn't get it to break loose from the water pump, so I just ended up cutting it loose, then cutting a slit in it, break it off of it. So I've got an upper and lower radiator hose at the local parts house waiting on me. However, there's no point in me going and getting that unless I can get the new transmission lines in and hooked up and ready to go. So, if I can get these in, get them put together, ready to go, then we are going to run on to town then, and we're going to pick up 2 or 3 gallons of 50/50 water and antifreeze, and we're going to go ahead and grab the radiator hoses. That way, hopefully this thing is back mobile and ready to go whenever I get back. Like, we can just finish topping it off with transmission fluid. I got plenty of transmission fluid in the truck. Top it off with transmission fluid, and then we'll top it off with water, and hopefully we won't spring any leaks anywhere. That should be it. That should pretty much round it up. So let's get the transmission lines in, and then we'll speak on the rest. Alright, so it's the next day from the last clip, and I ran into some issues, which is why we weren't able to finish it in the last clip. So the new transmission lines are in and on, hooked up both here and on the transmission. I ended up having to take the radiator fan shroud out to get the new ones in. Not that big a deal. Two bolts, and you know, you got to take the fan and the clutch off. However, I did run into an issue, so I don't know if you could tell that for sure or not, but I cross-threaded trying to put the new line in onto the old flared line connection that is on the transmission. Luckily, my dad had one, kind of just chilling, because he's got all this old school stuff laying around. And so we were able to get a new one in and on. It's a little bit smaller, but the thread and the internal fluid flowing diameter, whatever you want to call it, all that's the same size. All the flares meet up like they're supposed to. Because I think all those connections are the same through the Turbo 350s and through the 400s. The only thing I had a little bit of an issue with on the connector down there is it acted like the threads had a taper to them, and they taper fit, whereas this one doesn't seem like it has any taper fit to it. It's just straight on threads, right? So that one down there, I can't tell if it's fully seated or not. And the only way I'm going to be able to tell is when I get it cranked up, get it running, and see if it's going to leak or not. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get the fan shroud back on. Then we're going to get the fan and clutch assembly put back on. Then we'll get our lower radiator hose. We actually may put the lower radiator hose on first, since everything's out of the way where we can get to it. Not sure yet. But anyways, we're going to tick away at this thing. I'm going to get it put back together, and I'm also going to tighten my freaking alternator belt up, because it's been squeaking, and as you can see, it's kind of loose. So we're going to get everything buttoned back up, put back together. Next video should be... I'm not sure if I'm going to have to pull it back apart again yet or not. So, well, actually, even if that down there is still leaking, which is the only thing I'm afraid of, I should still be able to fill it back up with water and be good here. So, next video will be it hopefully back running and not leaking transmission fluid. Cross your fingers. Alright, you guys. So, got her all buttoned up. It's all put together. And, let's see, I've been trying to like air bleed it, and then I cranked it for just a second, and it has drawn some water. I don't think it's actually, so I cranked it for just a couple seconds, like maybe about 15 seconds or so, that maybe it would kind of fill the heater hoses and stuff, kind of draw some of this out, and it has drawn some of it. I see where it's kind of probably drained back into the heater hose. So I haven't really cranked it and ran it long enough to run a check on those transmission lines. So probably need to let's let it run for a little bit. Let's see if she'll crank up. While I was letting that air bleed some, I went on ahead and I was gonna get new door rubbers, but I decided I was just going to try and make these work. So what I did was I just unscrewed them loose from the bottom here. I'll just show you. I just took them loose down here at the trim here. This trim's not lined up right, which is going to bother me. It's alright, it'll be okay. As long as it's holding it still, it'll be alright. But some of it still doesn't fit quite right. But there's no more drooping, hanging door rubbers now, so I got confidence in her. This thing cranks up better than some fuel-injected vehicles, I think. Let's hear it. Listen to that. Easy peasy. So I'm gonna grab a flashlight. Actually, I got one right here. guys can't see it all that well, I don't think, but it is a little low on water, so, and it looks like it may be getting warm enough to open up the to where it's fixing to open up the thermostat next. That way I can really get it full. So I'm gonna top this off real quick, then we'll check it for leaks, let it run for a little bit. So she is all topped off. As you can see now, we're gonna slap this on so the cooling system can build pressure and start to circulate that new antifreeze in there. And I think I had mentioned that someone had kind of goofed this that fit in there for the heater hose. It just looked like it'd been mashed, like someone took a pair of pliers and tried to twist or something. I'm not sure what happened, but anyways, I was afraid that it wasn't going to seal good, but it was sealing good with the old hose clamp, so this one, you know, should have been perfectly fine. I don't know, guys. I mean, there's no leaks. I've already checked for leaks. No leaking. I checked the transmission fluid. We're topped off on transmission fluid, slap full. Now, of course, it is gonna, as it cycles through some more transmission fluid through this oil cooler and, you know, kind of bleeds itself, I'm sure I'll have to top it off as I go. But that jug there goes back in the truck, so I know I've got plenty of transmission fluid. So that pretty much sums it up on this one, guys. Get the truck shut off so I can talk to you guys for a second. So I know we've been kind of focused on this build a lot, mainly because this is going to be my tow rig for a couple years, in case you guys didn't know that already. And it's, you know, I'm trying to make sure that everything drivetrain wise is perfectly safe and sound, which we were already there at that point, I thought, and then we turned around and figured out that we sprung a transmission leak. So we're straightening that out, you know, little things as we go. But that was no big deal, you know, kind of a 2-day job because of parts, not a 2-day job because of labor. Really, if I had everything there and ready to go, probably in about 4 or 5 hours, I could have had that job done, I believe. And especially now that I have some knowledge of it. So I do want to give you guys a quick update on the shop, though. I don't know if I'd mentioned before, but me and my wife were having our wedding here at our house, just out here in the field there. We've actually still got a trash can barrel still out there that we got to get up. But right out there in, you know, past this ditch line here is where the new shop's going to be. The guy who was doing the dirt ran into some issues that it's going to be leveling it out and making the driveway out to the shop, and then also making the level spot for the concrete and everything. He got backed up. He had some things come up. It's just part of whatever, you know, life and everything else. But that's going to be the main next big project. Like, we're not really going to be working on any vehicles. I'm going to kind of film the process, mainly just steps as it goes. And I may film him a little bit as he comes out and does the dirt. And then we're going to re-gravel the whole driveway from the road, and then we're going to gravel all the way out, and then gravel where the concrete's got to go, obviously. And then it would, once we get concrete and our basic plumbing in the concrete ready to go and everything, then we're going to be ready to call them boys up that I have prepaid the shop with, and get them to come and build this thing. So be looking forward to that video. It'll probably be a series. I don't know if I'll make it all one video or not yet. We'll kind of go with that, you know, as whatever time goes along. And we'll probably still be doing some little things to the Chevy. And then I've got some parts built up for the Camaro that I'd like to get done too. So be looking for a video on the Camaro as well. But try to get a video out every now and then for you guys. I don't really have time to just dedicate days and days to it. But be sure to like and subscribe if you like the content. And then also, you know, leave a comment on something you guys would like to see, like something as far as You know, any vehicle that I have, for sure, I can easily do a how-to video on some of this stuff. I'm not going to pull my engine for no reason, but you guys get the gist. So, as always, thanks for coming. I hope you guys have a good one.